Abuja. And this is why we bring you events, reports, interviews, and everything relating to the FCT. This is Abuja File.
Stand before you today to accept the nomination of our party.
Welcome to another episode of Abuja File, coming to you from the Abuja studios of Kaftan Television. Like you know, on Abuja File, I bring you gist, events, reports, and everything interesting happening here in the FCT. My name is Sandra. Well, today on the program, we have in the studio Femi Jubal. He's a life coach and the founder of Brothers Helping Brothers. Today, we shall be taking a look at a lot of topics. One is relationship. It's called living right, dating right, and marrying right. And also, there's something called Elevated with Femi Jubal. Do you have an elevated life? I don't know if you do, but Femi Jubal is in the studio, and together we shall be taking a look at all of this. What is an elevated life? Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you so much, Sandra. It's always a pleasure to be here on this program once again. My name is Femi Jubal, like you said, and I am a holistic educator. This is a part of me that over the years has impacted a lot of people. But now I am coming out to focus more on it. It's all encompassing because I believe that life must be lived intentionally, number one, and then it must be holistic, you know, nothing missing, like they always say, and nothing broken. If one part of your life is broken, it affects the other. It's just like all the members of your body. For you to be healthy, it means that every member of your body are working together to ensure that everything is perfect. You know, so, and what does it mean to be an elevated person? To be elevated is to be positioned or situated higher than the surrounding areas. So what that means is that you are above the common, you know, level. You're above the level of the masses. And it begins with when I say the masses, I'm not trying to use the derogatory word. What I mean is because everything is ruled by your consciousness. So the elevated perspective is from the perspective of your consciousness. Are you an elevated person in your consciousness? It means are you a high-ranking person? Is it
mentally, financially, or
exactly
all of the above?
It begins with your mind, actually, because and there is a concept I came up with called government mentality. It's called the art of self-government, so to speak. You know, you are able to govern yourself. When you look at the story of creation from the religious perspective, when God created man, created woman, he did not create a police station. There was no court. There was no hospital. Why? Because we're not meant to commit a crime. We're not meant to be sick. You know, so there's this seed that was planted in every human being, which guides us and, you know, moves us. It nudges us to govern ourselves. You are able to know this is the right thing to do. A lot of people have lost that, you know, but then those who are now coming into the light and restoring that principle of self-government are the ones who are elevated.
All right, like you said, a lot of people have lost that. And I want to believe that you can't just be elevated above your environment without the environment having an impact on your elevation. I'm going to take Nigeria as a case study. A lot is going on in Nigeria. So sometimes you're not even where you want to be mentally. So you're not even on the same level with your environment. And let me just put it at this point, maybe your environment is even elevated than you are. So how do you put yourself in a position where you can be elevated with everything that is going on around you?
It begins with, as a man thinketh. That's a very popular quote.
Yes.
And like I said earlier on, life must be lived from the inside out. So many of us were not fortunate to be in an environment that fosters, you know, healthy, you know, mental growth and all that. But at the same time, I believe that if you make up your mind that you're going to start living from your inside, because everything begins from here. As a man thinketh, so is he. We have had stories of many people who grew up in environments that with unimaginable that they are where they are today. Some people came from the gutter, from the slum. You read about all these Indian billionaires, some Nigerians and all that. How were they able to rise above the challenges of their immediate environment where they grew up in? Because somewhere, at some point in their lifetime, in their mind, they elevated their consciousness.
Okay. So I want to believe that when you say elevated their consciousness, because a lot of Nigerians, I'm going to say this from the youth perspective, they feel like getting elevated above your environment is you live in Nigeria and the jackpot syndrome. You have to be outside Nigeria for you to think properly, for you to behave like how they behave there. That's where everybody wants to be. I want to be like this. But the environment here is not helping. So does that mean being elevated above your environment means you have to leave your environment, or you have to work with what you have, but come from within?
A popular quote, very funny, but as funny as it is quite profound. A lizard in Nigeria can never become a crocodile in America or in Canada. So at the end of the day, whatever you are here, you know, people who grew up in the slum, for instance, many of them are no longer in the slum. But they started from the slum. And it goes back to what I said. Something changed within them, in their consciousness, in their mentality. Something changed, and it has more to do with personal decision, that I am going to change this. So it begins from there.
Do you know why I'm saying this? Because I see a lot of people here in Nigeria, they act differently. And once they just leave the shores of Nigeria, it seems like their mental state is transformed. You see Nigerians run the lights, they do a lot of things, they throw trash on the road, but they don't do that when they leave Nigeria. So it's not like here you are also in a mental prison. You intentionally imprison yourself here in Nigeria.
Exactly.
Then when you leave Nigeria, you let yourself free, and then you start growing from within.
I understand the perspective of the Nigerian situation where we don't have functional institutions. That's, you know, but there is no perfect society. This is a fact. There are no perfect society. If you go on social media right now, you see a lot of videos even from New York, from some states in America, where you see people literally on the street, drug addicts, prostitutes, homeless people. So there are no perfect society at the end of the day. Although the Nigerian society, we have taken that imperfection to the next level. Notwithstanding, there are still people that, if they make up their mind that I will not drown in the challenges of my environment, I'm going to rise above it. And like I said, it begins from within you. It begins from your consciousness, from you. There must be a shift within you. Like, I'm not going to be like this. I'm going to restore that principle of self-government in me. I will do the right thing. And, you know, it's the universal law at the end of the day. If you do the right thing, you get the right thing.
So are there things that you have to put in place to be able to think from within or to govern yourself? Because I would say somebody that has not eaten, you will find it difficult to even think, not to talk of to think in the right direction. So are there, because you're a mental health coach also, so is there a way that you can actually restructure your mind to be able to govern yourself away from all of the things that are happening around you?
Your current situation does not define you. And it begins with an identity. You must first know who you are. You know, so now that if you discover your identity, you are self-aware, then you are able to first know that, and you are convinced that even if you are starving at the moment, it is not the conclusion. It does not define who you are. Your identity is defined from within, who you are from within. And when you invest more in that, what it does to you is that it elevates you, such that your spirit begins to rise above your situation, because you are a man, you have a spirit, and you are in a body. So the moment your spirit is able to rise above that situation, sometimes it may take some, you know, starvation here and there, and before you know it, it's only a matter of time. We all have stories to tell at the end of the day. I've been hungry too, so it's not like I just woke up one day and then I'm here. I've been in situations where and I'm talking about coming back to Nigeria. So it's not like there are two different people in Nigeria. So there are people who have never been rich. They've never had 1 million naira. So there are people who have seen millions. They've traveled the world. They've dated the finest girls. And then they come back to Nigeria and then they crash, homeless, starving. I'm talking about my story here. And then there were times I saw 500 naira. And it was like I saw the whole world. I was like, I have to manage this money. How was I able to rise above? Because in those moments of my life, I still knew that there was something about me. So you must have an inside information. During the Mohbad situation, I emphasized on how Mohbad had an inside information about himself. There must be an inside information, and that is the information that will guide you, through the vicissitudes, whatever you go through in life, it will guide you through it and empower you and strengthen you.
All right. Now, moving a bit away from the elevated life, you have an event that is coming up on the 28th of October.
Yes.
It's titled
Live Right,
Date Right, and Marry Right. What was the concept behind that, you coming up with this topic?
Thank you very much. Now, the first thing is I looked at the society and I figured that the reason we have so much chaos in society is because you have dysfunctional, ignorant people falling in love with dysfunctional, ignorant people, producing dysfunctional, ignorant children, and then you have the chaos that you have. The family is the backbone of society. If we can get it right, then it will minimize the chaos in society. Because at the end of the day, you cannot have a person who they are ignorant of their own identity. They don't know who they are. One of the major crises we are faced with in the 21st century is identity crisis. So many people don't know who they are, and that's why they jumped the wagon. And our parents too, they played an very important role in this, in creating the environment. That's why when people criticize Gen Z, I look at them like, who gave birth to
Gen Z?
Gen Zs, because you don't know who you are confused, you are dysfunctional, you have childhood trauma that you refuse to confront, and then you met another person, both of you fell in love, and then now you started raising children you're not prepared for. Because one of the responsibilities of parents is to be tour guide to their children. And a lot of us, we didn't have that opportunity from our parents because they didn't either. So the vicious cycle of dysfunctionality continues in society. And that's why people step out of, that space to go and look for something, to find some happiness into drug addiction, prostitution, name them. And I looked at those things. I was like, okay, it is important to first teach people to live right. Because, people see me something. If they meet a 30-year-old person, why are you not married? That's the first question. That's a very wrong question to ask someone. Are you providing some form of support to them mentally, spiritually, even financially, to know if they are ready to marry? Because it's not about everybody getting married. So it begins with living right first. So I ask single people, what life are you living right now as a single person? Because your marriage life is going to be built on the foundation of your single life. Okay. If you are dating 10 people as a single person, there is the proclivity you are going to cheat on your partner when you marry. There is no two ways about it. If you are dishonest as a single person, if you're not organized as a single, marriage is not a therapy program. Marriage is not that space where you go in as a sick, traumatic person, irresponsible, and the marriage will just fix you. Marriage doesn't fix people. Matter of fact, marriage elongates, marriage magnifies the demons that you have inside you. So I saw it and I said, no, we have to fix people while they are single. We have to provide the necessary resources and informations for them to become whole, to become genuine, not perfect, genuine spiritually, mentally, socially, economically, and in other areas of their lives.
All right. Now, I also you've talked about living right and all of that. But what is your definition of dating rights? Because that's where there's a problem. And if you ask the religious aspect, they have a definition of what they feel should be you dating right. If you ask 10 different people, they have a definition of what should be, or what they define as dating right. So my question to you is, you're a life coach, a relationship expert. You've had experiences. You've spoken to different people. And I'm very sure at this point you would have come to a conclusion. Okay, this is what you should be talking about when you talk of dating right. So,
okay, this is what I call, dating is data collection. When you are dating, you are collecting data.
Okay.
About the other person. Dating is not the excitement stage. It's the stage where you want to know the person. As one of the things I'm going to emphasize on in the masterclass is the art of observation. How to level up your observational skills. And I'm going to introduce some games to people. There are some games that you play, and before you know it, you become very observant. That's what happens to you. But, let me take it from this perspective. Dating was actually not necessary until, when society evolved, our collective consciousness evolved to the point where, people said they could go out there and just make their choice. Before now, and when you look at the statistics, how come the countries that are not pro-dating are the ones with the lowest rate of divorce. Look at Nepal, look at India, look at some of these Arab countries. They don't promote dating. You are meant to marry, matchmaking, you know. They bring someone to you, you marry the person, and their marriages last longer than the idea of the Eurocentric, you know, marriage template that we have that has been passed to us as Africans. Because even we Africans too, you know, it was basically matchmaking. Family was 100% involved in the process of you getting married to anybody. It wasn't like you just met somebody in Abuja, you fell in love, you took them to your family. No, your family must be part of it from the beginning. But we agree, modernization, you know, times have evolved, even science has evolved. Okay, so how do you now marry both? To be traditional and then to be modern, because you have to marry both, because we cannot say there is no such thing as the same yesterday, today, and forever. You know, if you follow that principle, you're going to crash at the end of the day. So dating right is first, you know yourself, you are living right, and then that way you have built principles and values. Your life is guided by these principles and values. So now on that template, that is the yardstick that you use to measure when you see other people. When you see someone, for instance, people say, I've been dating cheats, I've been dating people. Maybe you need to check yourself. There is something that is wrong somewhere. Why do you attract such people? Reminds me of one of those Greek myths that we read when we were young, of a creature that was knocking her head on the rock and was bleeding and blaming the rock. What is wrong with you, rock? Until they bled and there was nothing to bleed, and then the creature said, I think I need to turn around and ask myself, what is wrong with me? You know, so people make bad, poor choices and very, very unhealthy decisions because first they don't know who they are, and then they don't understand the dynamics of dating, which is, it's not about excitement, it's about collecting data about the person. Now, when you ask tech people, they tell you that every data is relevant for you to form your decision. So if I'm dating you, for instance, I want to know everything I need to know about you. And it boils down to observational skill. There is a game that we used to play when I was in school back then. It's called the escape room. Now they lock you up in a room for an hour and then you solve. What this does to you is that you have to solve, use your observational skills, analytical skills, logical skills, mathematical skills, because mathematics is the language of the universe. I'm going to introduce some mathematics into the master class, and then until you are able to solve all those things, you cannot get out of the room for 1 hour. And you are only able to do that by high-level observation. So now we have people these days who, by virtue of, you know, social media, for instance, and then you have people who are easily distracted. People are actually chasing clouds. Everything is used to chase clouds now. You know, I'm dating you, and then my focus is how to prove to people I'm dating you. Your project, when you are dating somebody, your project and your focus, your priority is the person. Because you want to collect every data that is necessary for you to form your decision. And decisions are the pathways to life. If the decision is faulty, that's the end.
Okay. Now, with what you've just said now, let's say I'm dating you, Femi Jubal, and I'm collecting data. And at the end of the collection, I'm trying to create a code so that we can work, and it's not working. Then I move. Am I supposed to move on to somebody else or keep working on that data I have collected? Because if I move to somebody else, like I also know that your relationship with people can actually affect you mentally, can affect your personality. So if I date you and the data collected does not match. And I move to the next person, collect more data, this data I am collecting, I'm actually absorbing some of it. Then if it doesn't keep matching, do I keep going, or I just keep trying to work on the data I have collected to make it work?
The thing is, you have formed a shield. You know, identity is a shield. When you know who you are, it is a shield. Like there are some things I will not do. And I've been in circles of people who do those things, but I will not do it. Why? Because I have a shield. There is a shield. I've discovered myself and I've been able to shield myself from those things. So now there is something called the power of choice. That's one thing that a lot of us, especially in Africa, we have let go of. We've thrown it in the wind. We think we don't have a choice. And that's why people fall. One of the philosophies I'm trying to get rid of is this idea of falling in love. There is no, if you fall into anything, you get injured. And when you get injured, you can't stand up. So you don't fall in love. You choose who to love. After you have, you know, collected their data. And then you have taken that data, compared it to what you stand for, where you see yourself, your values, your principles. It doesn't match. Next. Now, one of the things that you don't do, because, you know, emotional intelligence is also very important. People, and one of the ways people get emotionally attached to people is, you know, intercourse, they get too involved with the person, and then before you know it, I can't live again. But if you have these things in place, these structures, identity structure is built in you, emotional intelligence, your power of choice, because you can choose and unchoose a person. Nobody said you must be with them forever and ever.
So what you're saying is, right now, what people do is they fall in love, then start collecting data, and then realize that this is not working.
Thank you.
So you're supposed to collect data first.
Exactly. You're meant to collect data first, because at the end of the day, this is the thing. Because we have now accepted as a society that we have gotten to that point where we must date. It wasn't like that. Your family was involved, like I said, but now that we have gotten to that point, so you must arm yourself with information. And one of the ways to do that is to understand that you don't date to marry. Okay. You date to collect data. Yeah, but because people think they have to date to marry, so they start giving the other person the privilege of a spouse. Now you have gotten too involved. You're already having all these things, sleeping in their house, cooking for them. The guy is also playing the role of a husband. So no data to collect. So, but the first thing is you have to spend the first 1 month to 2 months to collect data.
So I'm a bit confused. And I'm very sure our viewers are wondering. If I'm wondering on your behalf too. Yeah. So if you are going to collect data and you don't live with them, or you don't I'm not saying you should live with them, but there should be some kind of you need to know how this person operates as a person in his home and all of that. So how do you collect this data if you don't do all of this thing? Like you said, some people start playing the role of wives, some people start playing the role of husbands. That should be part of the data you should be collecting. How would this person treat me when we go into this marriage that we are hoping that this our data collection will actually form?
Now, the thing is, I don't have to go to that length to know if you're going to treat me like a good wife. Okay. Just one date. This is why some of the techniques I'm going to teach at the master class, I'm going to open people's eyes to. There's also the spirituality aspect where they say a spiritual man evaluates everything. Yeah. So how to evaluate a person when you meet them. I took a girl out on a date once, and then the moment I planned the date, she became my project, and I started collecting data from that day. We had not had the date. I planned the date, and then I started collecting my data from the charts to everything. And then on the day of the date, I started collecting data. And from the date, another thing, people don't ask questions. I was the one that asked all the questions. So at that date, I've taken girls out before that. After the date, I never call them again. You don't call me again. I already know you. One date. Yeah? And it's very important. You can know all this because, see, what people do is you spend 6 months, investing your resources, your money, your time, your energy in someone. But in one day, 1 to 2 dates, if you pay attention and you have a sharpened discernment, you wouldn't have to go through all that. And these are the things I'm going to introduce, to single people, because, this particular girl I told you, I simply ask one question. I ask several other questions. She was just on her phone taking pictures, telling her friend of the fine place. I was not interested in the beautiful place. I'm here to know you. So people should also, you must understand that you want to know that person, and different situations and environments reveal a dimension of a person that you need to know. The way they behave in a cinema is different from the way they behave in a wedding. It's different from the way they behave when they're with your friends. So you are meant to monitor all those things. You can't put all these things on your template of values and principles and choose a wrong person. It's impossible.
I won't miss this masterclass for anything in the world. Because I know that from our conversation so far, I have realized that I need to learn a lot. And I'm very sure that some of our viewers are wondering, oh, I didn't know this before. I need to learn a lot because from what you said, I know that I have friends that I've had conversations with them, and their definition of dating, and I would say our definition of dating is different from what you've just explained. Because you see some girls when they're saying, he doesn't take care of me, he doesn't do this and all of that. And they have disqualified the man for not even just doing that. Yeah. So, and I know a lady, she said, till I got married to my husband, he didn't give me 1 naira. So now you see that, and you are seeing somebody that say he doesn't take care of me, so I won't even bother to even marry him. So I would say maybe she collected the data and like, okay, he's a nice person. So without the money, with the money, I will marry this person. So when she says, my husband did this, I'm like, You have so I got married to this man. He didn't give me 1 naira. So and you're wondering, how did she know that? Okay, when in the marriage he's going to take care of me.
Yeah.
So I think she did. She
Actually,
did her assignment and she collected her data.
Thank you. Relationship and dating is not a welfare program. People also need to know that. Yeah, it's the truth. It's not a welfare program.
Don't tell that to a Gen Z.
Yeah, it's not a welfare program because, and that's why we have our society has metamorphosed to this very weird place where people think is my body for your money. That's where people see it now. I'm going into relationship more or less. This is more or less like I don't want to go and prostitute. So let me just have a guy that is my boyfriend. He takes care of me. I give him my body. No, you will never know that person. And people crash land into marriage doing this. And what you have is, I ran the statistics. What you have is a lot of people who are below 40 in the last 15 years or so. They started dating when they were teenagers. This is a statistic that I ran, and facts at the end of the day. They started dating when they were like 16, 17. And for like 13, 15 years, they did not have any break in between until many of them crash landed into marriage. There was no space for self-introspection. There was no break to know yourself. There was no 3 months of, somebody was on TikTok the other day. She said, I was dating a Nigerian man. She's British. I have 3 kids for him. We broke up in June. The guy I'm with now. You broke up with a Nigerian man you have 3 kids for in June and you're already with someone now? Oh man, come on, man.
All right, before we run out of time today, I want you to tell us. Okay, I won't miss this masterclass for anything in the world, but people who are watching and who want to attend this masterclass, what would they be going home with? What would somebody coming to what would I be going home with? What am I supposed to gain from coming to this masterclass?
First and foremost, you are going to, after this masterclass, you will be able to look at people from a distance and decipher them and decipher their intention and their motive and know who they are and know if they are a player, if they are trying to mess with you or not. So it means that your observational skill and your discernment will be sharpened. Number 2, this masterclass is going to ignite your journey of self-discovery and self-awareness and your self-worth. And then it's also going to help you to engage in self-development. And then it's also going to help a lot of people go back to family values and to get their family involved in their relationship process and several other things that people are going to benefit from this awesome masterclass. Everybody needs to attend it, honestly.
So how do we register to be part of this?
My website is elevatedlifewithfemi.com. So just go to the website. There are 2 different versions. There is the free version and then there is the VIP version, which is just 10,000 naira. The VIP version takes you to the Elevated Circle community. It's a community of single people, engaged people, divorced people, separated people, and the goal is to connect and collaborate, which is also going to evolve later on into some matchmaking, system and all that.
All right.
If you can trust me, if I'm going to matchmake you with somebody, you better be sure the person is right for you. I'm not Lege Miami.
All right, thank you so much for coming on the program. I hope to see you on the 28th of October.
Definitely hope to see you too.
I can't wait to grab all the things that you have to give to us, the single people.
Thank you.
All right, Live Right, Date Right and Marry Right will be happening on the 28th of October at 3 p.m. and this will also be streaming live online. This is a free masterclass by Elevated Life with Femi. Please don't miss it for anything in the world. It's happening at Novera Center, Wuse Zone 5 here in Abuja. I'll see you there. And you will see me there too. And when you see me there, please don't forget to say hi. My name is Sandra Ago. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Abuja File. Till I come your way next time. Bye for now. We love Abuja, and this is why we bring you events, reports, interviews, and everything relating to the FCT. This is Abuja File.